When was the last time you regretted not saying something? Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe 5 years ago. But the moment still gnaws at you from the inside. I should have said something. Why did I stay silent? An Arab proverb says, "There is a time to be silent and a time to speak." The wise know the difference, but the fool is always silent or always talking. There are 7 situations where silence destroys everything. Your relationships, your reputation, your self-respect, even someone's life. And today, we'll break down each one of them. Situation 1. When your boundaries are crossed. The first situation is when someone crosses your personal boundaries and you stay silent. Arab wisdom says, silence at the first offense is an invitation to the second. You stay quiet out of politeness, to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Fine, just this once, it's no big deal. But here's what happens next. The person takes your silence as agreement. Your boundary fades, and a month later you realize you're being used, disrespected, stepped on like a doormat. There's a story about a Bedouin who let a stranger into his tent to warm up. The guest began acting like the owner. The Bedouin stayed silent out of hospitality. By morning, the guest kicked the host out of his own tent. Situation 2. When people spread lies about you. The second situation is when others spread lies, twist facts, or slander you. Many believe that staying silent is a sign of dignity. I'm above this. The truth will come out. I won't stoop to their level. Pretty words. But reality works differently. Today, information spreads instantly. A rumor can reach 100 people in a day, and your silence is often seen as an admission of guilt. There was a case in the history of the Caliphate. A rumor spread about an honest judge taking bribes. He stayed silent, considering the accusation beneath him. A month later, he was removed from his position. When he finally decided to defend himself, no one believed him anymore. Situation 3. When someone is being humiliated or bullied. The third situation is when someone is being humiliated, bullied, or turned into a scapegoat right in front of you, and you stay silent. An Arab proverb warns, the one who stays silent while an innocent person is being drowned is the one holding his head under the water. This happens everywhere, in the office, when a whole team mocks one colleague. At school, when a classmate is being bullied. Among friends, when one person becomes the target of endless jokes. Online, when a crowd attacks someone. And you stand aside, thinking, not my business. I don't want trouble. What if they turn on me too? Caliph Umar said, if you had the chance to stop injustice but didn't, you became part of it. One word can stop a crowd, because a crowd is held together by the silence of the majority. Remember, today they're bullying someone else. Tomorrow they might bully you, and who will defend you if you stayed silent? Situation 4. When you need to express gratitude. The fourth situation may seem unexpected, when someone has done something good for you, and you stay silent. The Prophet Muhammad taught, whoever does not thank people does not thank the Almighty. This is not just politeness, it's deep wisdom. How many times in your life have people done something kind for you, big or small, and you said nothing? You thought, well, it's their job. They already know. It feels awkward. I'll thank them later. Here's what happens when you stay silent. The person thinks their effort went unnoticed. They lose motivation to do good. an invisible wall begins to grow between you. When a waiter brings your order, thank them while looking them in the eye. When a colleague helps you with a project, say in front of everyone, "Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you." When a friend listens to you during a difficult moment, text them, "You helped me more than you realize." Words of gratitude have a kind of magic. They heal, inspire, and create connection. Situation 5. When a loved one is on a dangerous path. An Arab parable tells of two brothers who traveled with caravans. The younger one started drinking wine before every crossing of the desert. The older brother noticed but stayed silent. "I don't want to lecture him. He's an adult." One day, the younger brother, drunk, lost the path and led the entire caravan into the desert. His brother and half the people died. A harsh story, isn't it? But it reflects real life. The sages said, "A true friend is the one who stops you at the edge of the abyss, even if you hate him for it." Yes, it will feel awkward. Yes, the person may get angry, hurt, or say, "Stay out of my life." Yes, you might damage the relationship for a while, but it is better to damage a relationship and save a person than keep the peace and lose them forever. Situation 6. When you need to say no. Arab wisdom says, "The one who cannot say no becomes a servant to other people's desires." What does this mean? Your boss demands that you work weekends all the time, and it has become normal. A friend asks you to lie for him or cover up his lie. A relative pressures you. Your family, you must help, even though you physically can't. Someone asks to borrow money, and you know they won't return it, and you're already in debt yourself. And you stay silent. You nod. You agree. Because you're afraid to seem like a bad person, to ruin the relationship, to be accused of selfishness. Here's what happens next. A young man worked at a company. His boss began asking him to stay late regularly. "Just today, help me out." The guy stayed silent and agreed. A month later, it became the norm. Every day, until 9 in the evening. For free, of course. Then the boss began calling on weekends. "This needs to be finished, urgently." The guy stayed silent again and didn't refuse. 6 months later, he had no personal life, no health, no self-respect. And the boss saw him as a free resource who would always say, "Yes." When the guy finally tried to refuse, the boss exploded. "You were fine with it before." What happened? Here's what happened. His silence was taken as agreement. Learn to say no calmly, politely, but firmly. "I can't do this. I don't have the capacity for that." "I understand, but the answer is no. No excuses, no guilt." Situation 7. When you need to admit your mistake and ask for forgiveness. And the 7th, hardest situation is when you made a mistake, hurt someone, were in the wrong, but you stay silent out of pride. This is the most difficult kind of silence, because breaking it isn't for others, it's for yourself. Arab wisdom teaches, admitting a mistake is not weakness. Clinging to it is the real weakness. How many relationships have been destroyed by prideful silence? A father and son don't speak for years because neither wants to apologize first. Friends become enemies over a single conflict where both were wrong. Spouses live in a cold war because neither of them will say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." There is a story about a great vizier who insulted his loyal servant with a false accusation. The vizier realized his mistake, but stayed silent. His pride would not let him apologize to a simple man. The servant left. A year later, the vizier lost everything: his power, his wealth, his family. And only then, sitting in poverty, did he understand. His pride had cost him everything. Listen carefully. "I'm sorry and I was wrong" are not humiliation. They are greatness, they are strength, they are wisdom. When you admit a mistake, you regain control of the situation. You show strength of character. You rise above your own ego. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the other person to reach out first. Be stronger. Say it first. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." These words can bring back something you thought was lost forever. So, my friends, let's repeat the 7 situations in which you should never stay silent. When your boundaries are being crossed. When lies are being spread about you. When someone is being humiliated or bullied. When you need to express gratitude. When a loved one is on a dangerous path. When you need to say no. When you need to admit your mistake and ask for forgiveness. Friends, do you remember a moment when you stayed silent and later regretted it? What was it? Share in the comments. If this video was helpful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.